A warm welcome to this week's Tutorial Thursday upload, which is not being uploaded on Thursday because I accidentally ate some cheese that was moldy and I have a very bad penicillin allergy. Anyway, this week's tutorial is for both students and professors. Let's get started. Okay. This is on an aspect of compassionate pedagogy. It deals with learner anxiety. This is part of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion principles. Why is that? The things that affect how well you learn are part of diversity. In order for a diverse person to have equity and inclusion in this case, a college assignment, you need to have DEI principles in place. This is not about affirmative action. This is about how people learn and what strengths or weaknesses they may have when it comes to learning. Anxiety in assignments. Excuse me. My throat is still slightly swollen up uh, from the mold in the cheese. So we're going to discuss anxiety in assignments. Many students do not like being on camera, like for Flipgrid. Personally, I hate Flipgrid. It's buggy. It's I feel like I am in the hot seat. All right. I am not alone. There, I would say the majority of students are going to feel that way. Other students don't like to speak, whether it's on camera or in a podcast type upload. They don't believe that they speak well because they don't like the sound of their own voice with the skull reverberation aspect taken away. Even temporary laryngitis can cause anxiety at work or school, and you would need to have reasonable accommodations given in that case also. Your voice is important. Your tone, the way that you pause, and the cadence indicate what you mean. It shows your intended emphasis, and it also illustrates your cultural knowledge that you bring into the mix. Native Americans, like myself, tend to pop their T's and P's, particularly when we say words like important. I have two adult children who suffer from anxiety and actually have to take medication for it. They did not have this when they were little. Um, both of them had it develop in, excuse me, in high school for various reasons. One of them is a excellent post-production specialist. The other one was a daffodil princess. That is a thing we have here in the Pacific Northwest. They go to like boys and girls clubs. They have princess dresses and tiaras, and they read to the kids and help them with their homework. It's very much a community service, and they help underprivileged children. So a person can have anxiety their entire life. They can end up with it from a traumatic event or series of events. I have recently been diagnosed with that from a traumatic event. It can be a result of depression or too many life issues going sideways, either over time or in a cluster. You may feel like life is throwing snowballs at you from every different direction. We do not know what our students' lives are like outside the classroom. We don't know what they're dealing with. We don't know what their past is. And they may be incredibly uncomfortable sharing that. If you're a student, you are not required to share why with your professor. I do encourage students to contact the disability services at their school and talk to them confidentially and make sure that you have those accommodations in place. Do not wait until there is a flare up. All right. Instructors can cause anxiety with a lack of clarity in the instructions are given. So whether your student is an L1 or an L2 English speaker, that means that's their first language. If they're an L1, English could be an L2 for them. They may have grown up speaking their heritage language, even if they're Native American, right? It can also, they can also get anxiety from past or current lack of consideration or accommodations. Did I do that one? Yes, I did. Okay. So when you analyze this from the standpoint of an English language learner, the UDL issues, the user designed learning, these things can cause anxiety. Vague relevance, they don't understand why the assignment applies to the general topic of the course. There is no targeted explanation of specifics on how it relates to why they need to know this assignment or how to do it, other than it just exists as an assignment. There are no strategies in the instructions for them to navigate through the content listed in the assignment, such as what questions should they be asking themselves while they're doing the readings? Will they encounter new vocabulary? Is there particular vocabulary that they need to pay attention to? How important are the statistics that are included in the reading or other assignment elements, or are they just for illustrative purposes? If the assignment is too mathematically rigid and there's no customizable way to display the information they are meant to be conveying, that is going to cause learner anxiety. And we're not talking necessarily about required templates. If you use required templates as an instructor, make sure you go over those with the student so that they understand the elements of that template and how it helps them and is a time saver. Otherwise, it looks like you're just um, have a very tight backside and you're micromanaging everyone. If you have vague instructions with no clarity for L2 or even L3 plus English learners, or people from other cultural based thought processes, this is going to cause anxiety. It's actually going to be too vague even for native English speakers. Is your assignment only dual media rather than multiple media? Background knowledge that will specifically be needed might be too generalized and mostly left up to the student to guess what you mean. You might have missing patterns, critical features, the big idea of the assignment, the relationships between the writing and any mathematics not being clearly linked. There may be no real reason why the assignment exists. It might be entirely hypothetical. This is going to cause anxiety. There is no allowance for multiple levels of English fluency in the students. There's no real way for students to review their work before submission and assess their progress on meeting the assignment goals. There might be no rubric of any kind, written, visual, or verbal, or you might include one that is too linear. So if we look at assignments from the eyes of trauma-informed students, and there are many students who still feel traumatized from the educational experiences they had during COVID, for example. If you think ahead to all the ways a student may have gained anxiety levels, right? Your assignments need to include varied resources for guidance. There might be reading chapters assigned, but no clear path given. What are those reading chapters meant to be? How do they relate to the assignments of that week? Or are you just assigning reading chapters just, just because? Few visuals, if any, included to lend guidance on the exact information is going to cause anxiety. These are needed not just for processing the information in the assignment, but they illustrate how to structure content output for the assignments. So they inform the student how their completed assignment should look. Anxiety is going to be created if there is no real space given to the students in the instruction so that they understand how they can utilize or include multiple tools to prove their mastery of the content. One thing professors need to remember is this isn't your assignment, it's their assignment, and they need to be learning specific things from it. They can't do that if they don't have multiple tools at their disposal to be able to do that. If there is no allowance for assistive technologies mentioned, students are going to assume that there aren't any. A lot of professors assume that students who need them will already have access. That is not the case. And more importantly, a lot of professors assume that students who do need assistive technologies have had the time to learn proficiency in them. That is not the case either. This very well could be their first assignment since their trauma was diagnosed. If there is no multimedia instruction or allowance to prove mastery through multimedia formats, this can cause anxiety. Personally, for my discussion board posts, I always allow a podcast upload. If students wish to complete their discussion board verbally, obviously that does not work very well in graduate school because it's essentially a mini essay and you have to have references in there. So what are possible end results if any or all of these are missing from the assignments you give your students? And to you students, you need to know these things so that you can articulate to your professor what you need. Professors are not mind readers, okay? Not by a long shot. Students may shut down altogether and not do the assignment. They may drop out of school and never come back to gain the needed career skills. This affects our economy. This is why you need diversity, equity, and inclusion. Our economy cannot function without it. We need skilled people in the workplace, and this starts in school assignments. They may drop out and not return for decades and then end up having a harder time with the newer technology. They may attempt the assignment and possibly receive poor or barely passing grades because they either didn't understand it or they could not do it within their capabilities. Just because their capabilities don't meet the professors does not mean that they cannot successfully do the assignment. All of these things are failed acquisition of mastery of content. All of them are due to poor UDL and accommodations. This is not the fault of the students. I want to say that again. None of these things you see on this slide are the fault of the student. It's either a poorly designed course or they have not gotten the accommodations they needed in order to be able to navigate and complete the assignments. So the UDL guidelines addressed here are multiple means of engagement, multiple representation, action, and expression. There should also be added to the UDL guidelines for trauma-informed design. That is not currently in there. It mostly deals with visual, auditory, and learning disability. So for online or blended / hybrid learning issues, other things you need to consider: is the assignment too vague if the directions for online learners are only written? Blended hybrid learners might have an easier time if the assignment instructions are given on an in-class day. This is absolutely disastrous if the assignment is due on an in-class day with no other explanation by the instructor. If you're doing that, you are setting your students up to fail your course. And is that really why you went into teaching? What are some other possible improvements? Specify what in the chapters the students should be looking for. Vocabulary, quantitative data that explains the qualitative data. Which of the course goals align with the specifics in your assignment? Give examples of quality visuals or other media that could be included in the final assignment or the weekly assignments. What kind of paper do you want? You need to name your paper. I cannot stress this enough. You need to tell students, you just can't say you've got a 3-page paper due next weekend. Is it a narrative essay? Is it a comparative essay? Is it a reflective essay? Is it a literature review? Is it a research paper? You need to tell them which fonts, the spacing, the size of the font. Does the page count include the references and title page? Should any visuals that support what they're saying in the assignment be appendices at the end after the references page, or should they be included in the body of the paper? Do they count towards the written pages total? Selection of videos and the specifics with the readings need to be included so students can see, not just read on these topics. Industry professional videos are preferred. They are all over YouTube. They are free and at your fingertips. A podcast or storyboard media that help align the content to the course goals for those who are oral, that's storytelling, or auditory learners with captions provided is a huge benefit and game changer. Instructors need to state which course goals in the finalized assignment should reflect as targeting, or give a selection of course goals plus how many minimum of these kinds of things are to be included. Reiterate contact information for students who have questions, especially if they're up at 3 a.m. trying to do their assignment. Reiterate that those who need accommodations need to contact you directly for additional guidance and deadline information. Set up a Zoom coffee shop for Q&A from students. Make sure that they know their cameras can be off. Set up a student-only study space inside Canvas or Slack for students to complain, tear their hair out, chat about the assignment, share tips and tricks of what they found, just like they might do if they were in the student union coffee shop that should say on campus, not on Canvas. Provide a written or visual rubric that is not vague and includes assignment specifics, such as a minimum or maximum word or page count. Is it okay to go over half a page? How many minimum or maximum references? Provide a fluid rubric web page, if possible, where the students can go and visit that on their phone at any time of the day and night if they panic and don't want to reach out in the middle of the night. Provide a video explanation, similar to what I'm doing right now, that goes over all of this with screen sharing of visuals. They can hear your friendly language and your tone of voice. You reiterate your contact info and encouragement to reach out. You don't give them a good luck talk. You're actually giving them tools for how to complete their assignments in the course. Strategies. What strategies should your students be looking for that you may have left out? Go back and reread your assignment as if you were a student. What strategies should they use to assure they don't leave any out in their analysis or final assignment? What strategies should your students include to prove for their demographics? Are they an English language learner? Are they getting a degree in special ed? Is this an auto mechanics degree? Are they getting a degree in music composition, marine biology, political science? Are they Native American? Are they Eastern European? Are they from Africa? These kinds of things are personal to the student and they need to be allowed to be included in their written work. Make sure that your text as an instructor is well spaced and easy to read. Your font is plain and large enough for easy reading. Don't use fancy ones, just stick to nice, plain, ordinary ones. You have used bullet points for key information. The color balance is good and accommodates as well as possible for color blindness. This is one that I frequently forget about. My grandfather was colorblind, so I should know it. Make sure that the layout is easy for screen readers to translate your assignment information to students. They may be visually impaired. They may be prone to migraines. They may be dyslexic or they may need a translation tool. I have had students who have easily grasped the assignment, done the essay, and then Canvas won't accept the upload. You need to have another way for students to submit their work to you. If they have connectivity issues, they need extended deadlines in case their internet goes out or it's so spotty that they're unable to get the upload to go through in time. Based on previous issues in my student life, I always let students know that they can email me their assignment. You can now attach up to 8 files in the Canvas inbox also. And as an instructor, you will get that in 2 different places. You will see it in your Canvas inbox, and you will also get it in your email. Native American students and rural students have ongoing connectivity issues. I make sure that they know that they can download the Google Docs app to their phone. If they write their assignments in Google Docs on a web browser, it automatically saves there and you can email them from there. This PowerPoint was originally an assignment during my instructional design program. That assignment looked like it was written for an on-site class from 15 years ago and not updated. I've unfortunately seen this in my own college teaching. I have taken courses over from other instructors. The worst one was very vague and expected students to be able to do Latin worksheets. And I also found some other worksheets that were dated from 2002. You must remember that many high school graduates have never had to do worksheets after middle school. If you really, really feel that your course needs them, make sure you go over the worksheet with them in detail so the students know why they're doing it and how to do it. It might take a little thought and work to bring your course up to UDL guideline compliance, but it is definitely worth it. Instructor pride in the number of students fully engaged in the course increases course matriculation numbers. This is not something that should be left out or underestimated. Instructors should seek an educator coach if their school doesn't provide professional development or court assistance. Please avoid expert blindness that results in these scaffolding mistakes. You can reach out to me if you think you might need an educator coach and you have no idea how to go about it. I am booking some appointments for that. This presentation was originally designed entirely inside Google Slides and updated using PowerPoint. Washback is important and proves validity for your assignments, your tests, and your entire course, as well as your YouTube videos. Your comments are gladly welcomed. And here is my references page for this presentation. I thank you very much for watching. Leave your comments below and let me know if you have any questions about anything I have presented here.